hold them. Basically, we're looking at the tops of this right here, of this node coming back down, and right here would probably be kind of like the I don't know, probably a good spot between here and here would probably be some of the best buys chances on the chart, I would think. Okay, let's do the chart review for 4/30/2019, Tuesday. Looking at daily chart here, and you can see today was definitely no disappointment for the bulls. We had a nice sell down, tested pretty much across the tops of these daily bars, tested into basically the bodies of this, and nice blast off. If you watch the pre-market video, and I'll show you on the smaller time frame, I pretty much called this spot right here, and you'll see that I've got levels pasted in there right at that spot. Almost made the extreme today, but we're definitely right at the high of all-time highs for the market, and my upside target way up here. So there's no end in sight in this tight channel that you can definitely see this thing just pretty much climbing up. This is probably a better one right here. We're just trading basically right in that tight channel right there on our way to the top. Ranges aren't great, but it's going to make it sooner or later. Not sure if there's anything. I mean, just look at this incredible tail, all within that one bar right there. And I was talking about this node this morning, and basically we came back and we tested right across that top node right there. For tomorrow's support area, we're gonna, I don't know if we'll trade back at all, but you definitely have a volume node here, but your big support level is going to be right in these two levels right here, probably a little bit lower. We'll probably move this blue line down a little bit lower, and this one will probably shift just a little bit lower, and that'll probably be your big area of support. If it were to somehow manage to break through that, you've got quite a bit more down here. It would probably be across the top of this node right here, where I would look for that next piece. So early this morning I kind of called out, I think it was actually between this area and this area that I really was the most interested in. It ended up going just a little bit further here. You can see that it really tried to make that first bounce, but the sell-off was pretty fierce, and it usually takes two bounces, right? So it'll test the top, and then it'll test the bottom of the node before it'll get that bounce. I kind of thought that it would kind of test the top of this, and then test the bottom and the top of this, but it went a little bit further than we thought, and man, that was a great rally and call right there. So I did mention early on in the pre-market, before the open of the market, that they would try and push up over this node, and they didn't quite make it, and that was kind of a little bit of a signal that the market was going to be weak. Smaller time frame chart here. Let's put a arrow on here. So I think I made the video somewhere in here, and I was saying, hey, they're going to try and get it up over the open and over this hump right here, and they didn't quite make it there, and it sold off. And basically you had a pretty weak day at that point, and trading sideways and kind of holding this area, and then just fell. And you can see that's where I called out the area. I don't know if I can get it on the chart here, but you had this nice little dip spot right here, which I thought nice opposing pivots, and you had another nice opposing kind of pivots right through here, and I kind of thought that this was going to be the original spot, but with the force that came down, it ended up testing the bottom of this node rather than just the top of that node. There wasn't a whole lot of volume in this node. That's why I was kind of picking the top of this one versus going through the bottom. But like I said, the force of it basically drove it down at that point. You can see down here on the delta that they did buy pretty hard right here to try and get it up, but you would have easily got a scalp out of that. That was 28.50, 29.30. You could have easily got a point out of that, no problem. And with this one, this level here, 29, 26, 25, you took like a tick of heat right here before it bounced off. Came up, tested that previous level, came back, tested it again. I would not have taken the second line after the, basically you have a higher low right here. This is a volume node cluster right here. It tested the top of it, found support, and was gone at this point. The bars that it was putting in down here on the delta said, hey, I'm pretty strong, probably stand out of my way right here. And the way that it went through this level right over here, I don't think I would have got in front of it right here on this level either. But you can see it came back and found support perfectly on the level here and was gone. Found the next level right here, chopped away. You could have took a scalp out of that pretty easily. This one would have been a little bit tougher. You would have only got a couple ticks out of it, but then it was off and up at that point. And just the forever kind of rally here. But you can see it chopped underneath the level, came back, tested it beautifully, hit the next level, tried to sit on top of it, was gone. Wouldn't have took that level after it already tested it. Came up, found support on this level, bounced off that level. In strong markets, often 2 levels is what you need before you get a decent pullback. I have to say, sometimes it's got to go through a good 2 levels in order to get to a point where it'll actually do some pullback on really strong markets. So keep that in mind. You also kind of want to pay attention to kind of what you're getting into as far as over on the other side of this. And this level was basically kind of right underneath this level. You can see that's why it went through a little bit and it hit the opposing side right here and sold down after that point and found support on the line and chopped all the way through it. And here you go, it goes back up and tries to hold the line, but 2 levels up, right? And then you finally got the pullback and it kind of came back, and I think you would have took, let's see, 46 right there, 44.75. You would have took a 1.25 of heat going against this, and it lined up perfectly kind of with where the node was building. And I would say that if I put a profile on here, you're going to be right against the top of the node right there. So if I probably get this, oh, come on, Um, where is this guy? You can see that the heavy part of the volume was right there. Um, Off to the races, goes up, hits the line, pulls back a little bit, and this was pretty much after the market when some earnings were announced, and you get this big old pop, and it took you right to this other line. Started to pull back off of it, and the market's crazy. there's no bad news out there that can basically stop the market. There was all kinds of economic bad news this morning, and the machines care nothing about the economy. They have no fear of buying the high. You just got to remember this is all machine driven, right? I think I've kind of tried to show you the symmetry in the market, and so if I remove this and this, you kind of had this first swing that I was looking at. The midline lined up pretty nice there, and basically I lined it up at that point, and you can see that all the levels are there all the way across. And if you put one more, I believe, make sure I grab the right one, it took you right up to the top of it. So a little wonky over here. It kind of traded right into it, but you can definitely see, it came up and right there, touched it and tried to pull off of it, and this level was working pretty good right here. Sold down, went through it. This level would have, if you were just trading these ranges, you probably could have made some money off of just trading the ranges back and forth. But as high as the market is, hopefully you can understand this, as high as the market is, there are no levels beyond this. And what I've been doing in the chart reviews is showing you the symmetry so that you can find it on your own. And when we get up there above the levels where there are no more resistance levels, you can use this symmetry to try and pick up where the market is going to make turns, right? The point that I'm trying to make is the market has a lot of symmetry to it, and if you can find the swing with the symmetry and it starts to play out, that'll give you an idea of places, that the market's going to struggle and find resistance and support. When we get out there into the unknown, right? The market traded in the unknown for years, literally, right? Because it's been going up and up and up over the highs forever. And this is kind of just a way of doing it, is finding the symmetry, getting the ranges. You can see that, the ranges kind of work, right? This all chopped in here. It kind of worked over here. You could have, shorted that, and when it got up here, you could have shorted that. Could have took a long right there. Could have shorted that. You would have got a scalp out of it. Went long there. You could have went long right there. You could have tried to short right there, but would have got blown out of the water. But that gives you an idea of, targets and ranges. So, you wouldn't want to be going long, when the range is being exceeded, when you have the symmetry working for you. I don't know what to say here. Let's see. Let's just take a quick look. I think I already said for tomorrow, we've got this level, we've got this level. This isn't as great as this level, but this level is going to be, a big area. If it even comes back. But the algos are excited at this point. They're ready to go, I think. everybody that tried to get short at the top, they're going to get squeezed tomorrow. So they'll probably have to buy out. Delta was strong. It only ended at 8,000 here, but look, it came from a negative 21. So you put another 30,000 of buys into the market today after that little sell off, and that's been constant. If I don't have a delta on this chart. If I were to scroll this up, look, this day they put 34,000. This day they put 29,000. This day they put 17,000. This market is heavily long, heavily. That can be a big warning, by the way, that when this market falls, it's going to be a rush for the door when people got to get out of this market. So elevator down, escalator up, right? So just be cautious. Be cautious. Keep on buying, but be cautious. I'll see you in the morning. Hope you got that trade.